5 tools to pass. The OSCP exam. I passed the OSCP on my first attempt. And I'll let you in on a secret. It wasn't because I'd memorized 100 different hacking tools or because I'm some kind of super genius. The truth is, I really only leaned on 5 core tools. You see all these guides and blog posts out there that throw endless lists of software at you. They make you feel like you need to be a walking, talking encyclopedia of exploits just to have a chance. But that's a trap. It's not what the OSCP is about. Information overload is a real threat to your success. In this video, I'm going to cut through all of that noise. I'm going to show you the exact 5 tools that were the key to my success. A focused toolkit, when combined with a killer methodology, isn't just a good strategy. It's the real secret to passing this beast of an exa, the why, credibility, and methodology. Before we get to the tools, let's get one thing straight. The OSCP isn't a pop quiz on how many commands you know. It's a grueling 24-hour test of your penetration testing process. Offensive security wants to see if you can think like an attacker, if you can be methodical, creative, and persistent. They want to see you enumerate vulnerabilities and exploit them manually, because that proves you genuinely understand the flaws you uncover. That deep understanding is precisely why so many fully automated tools will get you instantly banned from the exam. This is where a less is more mindset becomes your most powerful asset. When you focus on a small, powerful set of tools, you're not just learning commands, you're mastering a workflow. You're building muscle memory for the core stages of any pen test: reconnaissance, enumeration, exploitation, and privilege escalation. You want your precious brain power during the exam to be focused on connecting the dots and understanding the bigger picture, not frantically trying to remember some obscure syntax for a tool you've used maybe twice in the labs. Think of it like this. A master carpenter can build a beautiful, sturdy house with a handful of trusted tools they know inside and out. Their favorite hammer, a sharp saw, a reliable level, and a measuring tape. A novice has a garage full of shiny specialized gadgets but can't even build a solid birdhouse. For the OSCP, you absolutely want to be that master carpenter. These 5 tools are my hammer, saw, and measuring tape. The absolute essentials that will help you build your path to root. Section 1. The first tool, Nmap. Alright, let's start with the absolute foundation. The very first tool you'll run against every single target on the exam, Nmap. Nmap, or network mapper, is your eyes and ears in a black box environment. It's how you find live hosts, discover open ports, and begin to identify the services running on them. Missing even one open port on the OSCP can be the difference between passing and failing. You could waste hours, even days, chasing ghosts down a rabbit hole, all because you missed one obscure service running on a high, non-standard port. Mastering Nmap isn't just a good idea, it's mandatory. It's the first real step of your attack methodology, and it sets the stage for everything that follows. A bad scan means a bad start, and a bad start is something you can't afford when the clock is ticking. Here's a quick win tip that served me incredibly well. Don't just run a generic slow Nmap scan. Use a 2-step process that's both incredibly fast and deeply thorough. First, do a quick and dirty scan to find all open TCP ports. The command looks like this: Nmap pvilis open T4 VVVV OG open ports. Let's break that down. Bratimoi Rika P tells Nmap to scan all 65,535 ports, not just the top 1,000. Radil open tells it to only show you the ports that are actually open, cutting out the noise. T4 makes the scan aggressive and fast. Vavi gives you very verbose output so you can see what's happening, and OG saves the open ports in a greepable format. This gives you a fast, usable list of attack vectors. Second, you take that list of open ports and run a much more detailed surgical scan on them. Let's say your first scan found ports 22, 80, and 445. Your next command would be Nmap Hiripash 22, 80 down 445 SV SC when targeted Dutch scan ulal. Here, Buen SV performs version detection to figure out exactly what software is running, like Apache HTTPD 2.4.29. Satchmas ACE runs Nmap's default scripts, which can find things like anonymous FTP logins or hidden directories on a web server. This 2-step approach saves you a massive amount of time by only running the slow, detailed scans on ports you know are actually open. Section 2. The second tool. Burp Suite Community Edition. Okay, so your Nmap scan finds a web server running on port 80 or 443. What's next? Say hello to your new best friend for the next 24 hours. Burp Suite. Specifically, the free Community Edition that comes pre-installed with Kali Linux. It's critical to remember that commercial tools like Burp Pro and its automated scanner are not allowed in the exam. You'll need to get extremely proficient with the free version. Why is Burp so important? Because web applications are one of the most common and most fruitful ways you'll get your initial shell on an exam box. Finding OSQL injection, bypassing a login page, exploiting a file upload vulnerability. It all happens inside Burp. Trying to hack a modern web app without it is like trying to perform surgery with a spoon. Burp is your scalpel. It gives you precision and control. Here's a practical tip to become a Burp master. Live inside the repeater and intruder tabs. Your entire web hacking workflow will look something like this. You browse the web application with Burp acting as a proxy, and it captures all the requests. You see an interesting one? You hit Ctrl-R to send it to repeater. Now, you can manually tamper with every single part of that request, the headers, the cookies, the parameters, and see how the server responds, over and over again. Find something that looks like it could be vulnerable, like a login form or a search field. Hit Ctrl-I to send it to intruder. Even the free version's throttled intruder is powerful enough for simple brute force attacks or fuzzing for hidden files and directories. Getting fast at bouncing between proxy, repeater, and intruder will make your web attacks 10 times more efficient. Section 3. The third tool, Metasploit Framework. Now, let's talk about the tool that comes with a giant flashing asterisk, the Metasploit Framework. This framework is an absolute powerhouse, a massive library of exploits, payloads, and utilities. However, its use in the OSCP is extremely limited, and getting this wrong is a critical error. The exam rules are strict and clear. You can use Metasploit, which includes its exploit, auxiliary, and post modules, plus the Metapredator payload, on Vortan, one machine only. Once you use it to successfully exploit a machine, it's locked to that target and you cannot use it on any other machine for the rest of the exam. So why is it on this essential list? Because knowing when to use that one shot is a strategic decision that can be a complete lifesaver. You can't rely on it, but you absolutely must be ready to use it. Now, what about utilities like MSF Venom for creating payloads or the multi-handler to catch reverse shells? Those are generally seen as okay for wider use because they don't automate exploitation. But here's my warning to you. Always double-check the latest official OSCP exam guide from Offensive Security. The rules can be nuanced and they can change, so don't risk your certification on an assumption. My tip is to treat Metasploit as your get-out-of-jail-free card. Do not blow it on the first machine you see. Save it. Your goal should be to try and hack every single box manually. But if you're deep into the exam, the clock is ticking, you're exhausted, and you're stuck on a box with a known, notoriously unstable public exploit. That's your moment. Using a reliable, tested Metasploit module can be the difference between getting points on the board and getting nothing. You have to know how to quickly find a module, set your options like hosts and lhost, and fire it off without hesitation. Alright, we've covered the tools for breaking in. Network recon with Nmap, web hacking with Burp, and your single strategic shot with Metasploit. The next two tools are all about what you do after you get that initial shell, which is just as important. But before we jump into privilege escalation, let me know in the comments. Which of these first three tools do you feel most comfortable with, and which one are you going to focus on practicing? I read all the comments and I'm curious to know. And hey, if this is helping you clarify your study plan, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more guides to help you crush your certs. Section 4. The fourth tool, SQL Map. Okay, this next one is going to sound completely contradictory, so listen closely. Let me be 100% clear. You cannot use SQL Map during the OSCP exam at all. Not for exploitation, not for detection, not for anything. The exam guide explicitly bans automatic exploitation tools, and SQL Map falls squarely into that category. Running it against an exam machine is an automatic fail, no questions asked. So why in the world is it on my list of essential tools? Because it's an incredible teacher while you're practicing in the PWK labs. The entire reason it's banned is to force you to learn manual SQL injection, which you absolutely have to master. You need to know how to poke at URL parameters with a single quote to look for errors. You need to know how to find the number of columns with an order by clause, and you need to know how to exfiltrate data using a union query, or if that fails, how to do it one painstaking character at a time with a blind injection. But when you're first learning, you can get stuck for hours wondering if a parameter is even vulnerable, or if you're just wasting your time. This is where SQL Map becomes your guide. Here's my tip. Spend a good amount of time, at least an hour, trying to find and exploit a potential SQL injection by hand. If you get totally stuck, run SQL Map against it in the practice lab. If it finds an injection, you've just received confirmation that it's possible, and you can refocus your manual attack with renewed confidence. If even a SQL Map finds nothing, you can be pretty sure it's a rabbit hole and it's time to move on. Use it as a compass to train your brain in practice, so that come exam day, you can spot and exploit those flaws all on your own. Section 5. The fifth tool, LinPs and WinPs. You did it. You found a vulnerability and landed a shell. Awesome, but the job's not done. It's only half over. Getting root or system access, known as privilege escalation, is required for full points on a machine. This part of the fight is all about local enumeration, and there are no better helpers for this than the P scripts. LinPs for Linux and WinPs for Windows. These are not exploit tools. They are massive enumeration scripts that you upload to the target machine and run. They rapidly check for hundreds of common misconfigurations that could lead to a privilege escalation vector. They look for weak file permissions, strange sugli files, saved passwords in browser history, kernel exploits, unmounted disks, and so much more. Now, while OffSec doesn't give an official thumbs up to specific third-party scripts, enumeration tools like these are generally considered fair game because they don't automate the exploit itself. They just find the clues you need to perform the exploit manually. My essential tip: don't just run the script and stare blankly at the overwhelming wall of colored text. Learn what the colors mean. The script is brilliantly designed to scream at you with red and yellow highlights for high probability wins. When you run LinPs, don't just see a list of SWID binaries. Actively cross-reference that list with GTFO bins to see if one can be abused to get a root shell. Don't just see a writable config file. Read it to see if it contains credentials. These scripts are powerful pointers. They tell you where to dig, but you still have to know how to dig. Master their output, and you will master privilege escalation. How the tools work together. The system. So how does this all click together? This isn't just a list of 5 disconnected tools. It's a system, a repeatable workflow that you can follow for every single box on the exam. It always starts with nmap, which draws the map of the network and shows you the doors. If one of those doors is a web server, you immediately turn to the burp suite mauvais doigts to start picking the lock. You live in repeater, methodically probing for that one crack that gets you in. Once you get that initial low-privilege shell, your very first move is to get LinPs or WinPs onto the box and run it. That script's output becomes your new map, showing you all the potential paths to becoming the king of that machine. What about the other 2? Metasploited is your emergency key, your one-time silver bullet for a lock you just can't pick when time is running out. You hold it in reserve. And Vuoi. That's your sparring partner. You only use it in the gym, in the practice labs, to sharpen your instincts so you're ready for the main event without it. This 5-tool system covers every phase of the attack, from reconnaissance to root, in a way that is efficient, repeatable, and most importantly, keeps you safely within the exam rules. And that's the system. Nmap, Burp Suite, your Metasploit one-shot, the P scripts for Privesc, and SQL Map as your practice lab sensei. That's it. You don't need 100 tools. You need to master the art of pen testing with these 5. The OSCP is a marathon, not a sprint. It tests your methodology, your problem-solving skills, and your grit. Focus your energy, learn these tools inside and out, and you will be ready. The feeling of seeing that root or no authority system prompt finally pop up after hours of work is something special, and I know every single person watching this has what it takes to get there. It's a testament to your hard work. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Let me know in the comments which tool you're going to master first. Now go out there and try harder.